Professor, can someone like myself who is not a Muslim and who does not believe that God spoke to Muhammad ever hope to fathom the truth of the origins of Islam?
No.
العرب نعم الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام كان عربيا.
Bedouin, the face of the Arab conquest. The shock troops who in the 7th century swept out of Arabia and forged a colossal empire spanning half the world. And here in the desert, no one doubts that the conquerors were indeed Muslim.
تركوا كل الدنيا ما فكروا في التجارة ما فكروا في الحياة ما فكروا في أبناء فكانوا يفكروا أني أقتتل أو أن أموت في نص الطريق أو أموت ضيعة أو جوعا أو شيء. لا كانوا يفكروا في هذا لا في نجاح الإسلام.
Everything was for Islam. That's what they say today. The victories, the conquest, the empire. But how do we know Islam even existed back then?
ثبت الدين وثبت كل شيء والحمد لله احنا ماشيين على سنة عشر على سنة الرسول.
المسلمين هذه كلها من ذرية يعني هذه احنا من ذرية الناس.
To the ancients, the Arabs were notorious savages. Of all the peoples of the earth, the most despised and insignificant. Yet after 10 years, in the first half of the 7th century, they deprived the Roman Empire of her richest provinces, crushed the Persian Empire, and taken possession of most of the Middle East. A staggering achievement. For most Muslims, a miracle. Only God could have made it happen.
Bedouin Arabs. They're the margin of history during the Roman Empire. That through such a people, the whole of North Africa and Spain should be transformed in just a few decades, and a whole new civilization created within a century from China to France. And this is a historical fact.
And it all began, the story goes, when a merchant named Muhammad in a mountain cave heard something as terrifying as it was awesome, the voice of an angel. O Muhammad, thou art the apostle of God. God had spoken to the Arabs.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
The message was as clear as it was elemental.
الله أكبر.
There is only one God. Muhammad is the prophet of God.
سمع الله.
Islam is submission to God. And it was this message that gave them an empire. Or was it?
الله أكبر.
No one doubts the conquests really took place. But the question is, was it because of Islam?
If you were a Christian or a Jew or follower of another religion for whom a similar reality exists, it'd be easier to make a jump. There's a very famous Arabic proverb which says, not being able to know something is no proof that it doesn't exist.
But making that jump, taking a leap of faith, isn't as easy as it sounds. In Western universities, historical research is all about skepticism and doubt. And just as earlier generations of scholars turned a penetrating spotlight on the life of Jesus, so now some are taking a radical new look at the life of Muhammad. Patricia Kroner is a professor at Princeton. She is one of a number of historians whose research into the roots of Islam has sharply divided the world of early Islamic studies. You cannot reject the Muslim story, she wrote, but you cannot accept it either. The only solution is to step outside of the Islamic tradition and start again.
There is a curtain as regards Muhammad that you can't get behind.
What do we know about him and his life?
Well, we know that he existed. We know that he was active somewhere in Arabia. We know that he's associated with the book, the Quran. He was the one who uttered it. But it doesn't get us to what actually happened, which is what, of course, a historian would like to reconstruct. We have absence of evidence. We have the Quran, and you can't tell the story of the basis of the Quran. We have various early non-Muslim sources. They don't add up to a story. We have nothing. We have this this one book out of a nothing. There's complete darkness.
But here, that's not the way they see things. The Bedouin think they know everything about Muhammad. His character, his wives, even his favourite food. This is a whole world founded on stories of Muhammad.
كان يعيش الرسول على الجمال، وكانت هي الوحيدة الذي يتنقل عليها البدو والأجمال والإسلام، وإحنا على هذه نعيش ونتحمل الصبر إن الصبر كويس، ونصبر على الماء على الظما والأكل والجوع، ولكن هذا يعاني فيها الرسول وكانت الجيش لأجل الإسلام، لنصبر هذا الصبر، لنقطع هذه السحاري، لننشر كلمة الإسلام إن شاء الله.
But the problem is, how do we know this was what it was like? How can we separate what really happened from the hearsay and the myths?
Do we know, did the Prophet Muhammad come here, Huna?
Yes, كان خرج من مكة إلى مناطق الشام وجاء على منطقة فجلس في شجرة في الصفاوي.
Was there a tree? Was Muhammad even a travelling merchant? The evidence is almost non-existent. The earliest biographies we have were written nearly 200 years after Muhammad's lifetime.
In most religions, the tradition was handed down through oral history for millennia. This is put aside. That was called positive history. The oral tradition is completely negated.
Well, oral tradition means that you remember what you want. Some of it must be history, and most of it is clearly not history. It's just that they have been reshaped, rethought. They have been taken out of their original context, serving new functions. They've been cleaned up by all kinds, or cleaned up or messed up, if you like, by all kinds of interests that people have in the memory.
If supposing there is no written text of the time of the Prophet mentioning his name, the same is true of Christ. The same is true of Moses. That doesn't mean anything because there's always the oral tradition.
Sometimes if you have other sources from other points of view, you can suddenly see what it is that's been changed, and then when you can see that, you can also see why it has changed. But because Islam arose in a relatively remote corner of the world, we don't have these checks. We don't yet have the key that can unlock the tradition.
I came here to get close to the tradition. And when you're here, you can feel its weight. It's in the air. It's palpable. It can't just be brushed aside. Millions upon millions of people believe it. This is their history. An entire moral universe has been built around the stories told of Muhammad.
هذا أيام الجاهلية قبل الإسلام. كان الواحد يوم تجيه بنت خوفا يا تعمل عيبة وكذا إلى آخره يذبحها لأنها عار، يجيب لها عار ويجيب لها منتقد بين البشر. فيجيب البنت ويدفنها ويحيى، بعد ما يدفنها ويحيى صح. عمر بن الخطاب له بنت وجابها وده يدفنها، حفر لها وده يدفنها، جاء الرمل على شاربة من هون، جابت بيدها قامت تقول بالرمل كذا مشي عن مشي، حفر لها ودملها. جاء سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أوقف كل الأعمال هاي.
Listening to all these stories, part of me very moved. The other part of me was wondering, well, how do you know this? Where do these stories come from? Are they really true?
Gradually in the West, for the intellectual elite, the sense of the sacred was lost. Tribal person in Africa or in the Amazon has a natural sense of the sacred, whereas a graduate student at Oxford probably doesn't.
الله أكبر. سمع الله من حمده. ربنا لك الحمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. يا رحمة الله. الله أكبر.